And no, what I was gonna say is that I needed something comforting yesterday, so I put on Weathering with You, which is
Oh.
Shinkai's most best ending movie with the least amount of like heartache to get there. I know
Mm.
Your Name generally is seen as a happy ending, but you don't quite get enough happy that it still leaves a little bit of sadness in your on your tongue, if you will. But I was watching it and just listening to Radwimps, their soundtrack for those movies and all of their albums. They did a soundtrack for a live action film last year as well, which is amazing. Just reminded me that we've got Suzume Locking the Doors coming up late this year in Japan and early next year for North America. And I they haven't announced it officially that I can tell, but the trailer definitely sounds Radwimps-ish, and I am excited about that. Their music is amazing. I cannot suggest it enough.
I still
Anyways,
haven't watched Weathering with You. It's on my eventually
it's
to watch
on
list. Like I
it's
said,
on
it's
HBO
kind of like,
Max.
oh, I
That's one you
know.
made me
The,
watch.
I just said I
Like we were
haven't
gonna
watched
do
it,
it
but I
on
want
the
to make.
show, and then you guys didn't end up watching it or
Oh,
something.
Mm.
maybe. I don't think so. Maybe.
I think that's the
Yeah,
one. I don't
maybe.
remember if I
I think
finished it or
so.
not though, because I think I may have found out we weren't doing it before I finished watching it, and I was
I
like,
think
"Oh,
you're
good, I
right.
It's
can fuck
good.
off."
You need to watch it, Jammer. You need to watch it.
Yeah, it's one of those things
It's
kind of
on.
like Tenet where I haven't watched it yet just because I'm like, eventually I'm going to be in a mood for a new Christopher Nolan movie and then I'll have it. Like that with the Makoto Shinkai thing. It's like someday I'm going to be in the mood for a new one and I'll have it
Yeah.
there for me. So,
Well, good luck with that. I definitely suggest checking that out. I'm excited about Suzume Locking the Doors, and yeah. Anyways,
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Breaking Geek Radio podcast, the premier flagship and international podcast of LRMonline.com and the Genreverse Podcast Network. Woo! I am here as always. Well, no, I mean it depends. We have a rotating crew. We got Jammer today. How's it going, Jammy?
what's up?
And then
It's
we got
good. I love your like international podcast. You get really close. Mumbled international, but we're there. We're not today international. Today we're
usually
strictly US.
that's right. We're regional or domestic. We're domestic, national.
I mean domestic for us.
Of course, yeah. And we got Kyle on the ones and the twos and the.
hello.
And I'm your host this week, Nick Dahl. Of course, you can find early all of our that turned into an Anchorman gag. That wasn't actually a full noise that made. We have already obviously found on the Genreverse Podcast Network wherever you listen to podcasts, and on YouTube as well, and on lrmonline.com, the website where you can also read other great content. Today we have some trailers, the news, and we're going to also be having a conversation / review about Only Murders in the Building Season 2, which completed last week, I believe. So,
I don't remember.
I finished it this week.
Recently.
Personally. Streaming. Whenever you finish is whenever I wanted to finish. But not earlier than they release it. Anyway, so with that, let's hop into the trailers. Our first trailer this week is a really weird one, and I actually did not mean that as a pun, because it is just trailers. I don't know what tone it's going for, but we'll discuss it. Weird, the Al Yankovic
gotcha.
story.
I thought we were. Yeah.
So
yeah. There was a it's called Weird. Yeah, the Al Yankovic story starring Daniel Radcliffe in the titular role. And it's funny, you mentioned you're like, I don't know what tone they're going for. And for me, I'm like, I know exactly what tone they're going for, and I'm on board with it. It's literally making fun of biopics in a way where it's just like, oh, that really key moment where this thing came about, let's just amp that up. It's kind of just falling into every big cliche.
Yeah, like my parents never wanted me to yada yada. Like that's like
my parents never wanted me. Like, no one understood who I was. We saw him at a polka party, and then the moment where he's just sort of like, I just like, I just want to make lyrics to songs that already exist. And then just like inspiration for My Bologna is looking at like a freaking thing of bologna. And it's just really over the top and ridiculous, where it's like very loosely based on a true story. It just amped up to be crazy and weird for lack of a better term, and just kind of wacky. And they really play up like the cliches, like, you know, you have that arc where the main character, or I guess the person, the topic, he becomes over the top and becomes really sort of obsessed with fame, obsessed with himself, and becomes a complete asshole. Like when that guy says you can't smoke in here, he like freaking looks at him and just puts it out on his hand. Just it's a fantastic tone, and I'm 100% on board with what this movie has to offer. I hope it's funny, and I hope it's not one of those things where you watch it and you're like, oof, that's funny in a trailer, but I feel like it's too long for a full feature movie. It definitely has the potential to go that route, but I enjoyed the trailer for what it was, and I really just personally like seeing Daniel Radcliffe between this and The Lost City, just clearly having a lot of fun with his career recently.
I saw some meme. I can't remember exactly, but it was all about Daniel Radcliffe just doing weird roles. Where like it was even a written one. I don't think a meme picture where it's like, "Hey Harry Potter, yeah, we got a weird movie for you. You want to do it?" He's like, "I'm already here."
But, yeah, I mean
that's why he's
defined his career,
like Swiss Army Man, the one where he's a
Swiss
farting
Army
corpse.
Man. Guns Akimbo is another one.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I want to.
It's so good. It's really good. Like, you should check it out. I think you'll have a good time.
Yeah, and like you said, his character in The Lost City is fantastic.
What did you think of the trailer?
I loved it. I don't even know if any of it's true. Like, did he date Madonna?
Is that really?
No, but I'm curious.
That's your takeaway? I wonder what's true. None of it's true, I'm sure.
So
and if some of it's true, that's a nice surprise.
Movie.
Maybe, okay. Probably.
Like the cigarette butt thing. I'm like, there's no way that happened. But like other things, I mean,
maybe
like, did he
date
Madonna? Like, but even that, and I love how it's obviously he's not even doing a Weird Al voice, and they're obviously just playing Weird Al whenever there's like a singing song. Like he's doing an American accent, but he's not even trying to sound anything like him. So they're not like
except for when singing, and who knows, maybe Weird Al's actually providing the vocals for that.
Oh, that's definitely weird. That's definitely Weird Al, which I think. But I don't think it's
exactly Weird Al. I think it's like a mix in between, where it's kind of like they mix the voices in a way so that it still kind of sounds like him, but also sounds like Weird Al. By the way, I looked it up.
To me, like they were just playing the tracks off the CD is what it sounds like, which I think is funny.
Well, apparently Weird Al and Madonna never met.
Okay, so this entire movie's bullshit, but it still looks funny. Like not even like a pretend. Yeah, it's not even just like it is like a parody of about. It's Walk Hard, but with
a real person.
Subject matter. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm looking here at making sure that I'm accurate and
about the singing.
About the weird Madonna thing. It doesn't look like I can't guarantee whether or not per the Daily Mail, Weird Al and Madonna may have actually never met. The publication noted she did reportedly tell an acquaintance of Weird Al's manager that she wanted Weird Al's parody song about her to be called Like a Surgeon, but it doesn't seem like the two actually interacted.
So they definitely didn't date then. Yeah. Okay. Well, that answers some of my questions about it.
Unless it was online, which I guess is, a very, very impossible thing back, the 80s, whatever that was, early 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. I like his songs. I love Daniel Radcliffe lately. Thumbs up. I was
huge into Weird Al. I think most I was into it was in his album Running with Scissors, which was a great album. I don't really think I know some of the songs outside of that, but I don't think I've ever listened to a full album outside of that one.
Same actually.
I think that's
the song that has Albuquerque on it, doesn't it?
As Albuquerque,
or it's just like 8 minutes or whatever, but like just him more talking even than singing.
And it has the Star Wars song.
Saga continues.
Is it called Saga Continues?
Saga begins. It's the Saga begins.
Oh
wow! Okay. Look at you. You fucking shown up by ones and twos.
Okay.
No, but yeah. So Saga begins, I guess, and that was making fun of the prequel to the American Pie, not the American Pie theme, to the song American Pie.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
And well, I say, oh yeah, did you know there was a Roku channel?
No.
I know that's a device my parents use. So I
I didn't
hope
know it
it's
was a
not. So
channel.
I don't think. I hope you don't have to own. I don't think you have to own the device to get the Roku channel. I think it shows up on my TV unless it costs money. Like on my smart TV on the main screen, it's like I think there's a button for Roku channel.
There are it is an app that you can get on other devices. Yes.
Free, I hope. I would
That
never
I
pay
don't
for
I
something
don't
called the
recall.
Roku
I
channel.
mean, probably the app is free, and maybe there's like a free trial for like 7 days or something, and then you can pay for it, or maybe it is free. I don't know. Maybe it's like Pluto TV where it's driven by ads. Who knows?
I really don't know what that is either, but okay. Ready to move on to the next trailer, which
Pluto
is
TV is like
equally
a
weird.
streaming network that essentially has a bunch of old shit that they just play on loop, like a standard TV channel.
So here is what I found on the Roku channel's subscription. You can get a 7-day free trial, and monthly subscriptions are $8.99 a month. And if anyone wants to see it, I can share that on the YouTube screen for you guys right now. They've got stuff from like Outlander from Stars on here, Sister Wives, yay, a bunch of additional channels that you can add, kind of like you do Amazon Prime Video, where you can add stars or whatever. So yeah, $8.99 for something you've never heard of, Nick.
Nice. I will probably won't even get a free trial because this is one of those movies where I enjoy the trailer, and by the time the movie comes out, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, this could be a fun, ridiculous movie, like Eddie the Eagle, which was ridiculous and silly and feel good.
I'm sure I'll enjoy it. It's just one of those mid-level movies where it's like we watch the trailer because it's easy for the show. We're like, yeah, and then when it comes out, I'm like, eh. Which is a lot of most movies these days for me. I'm a bad person. Speaking of bad people,
what the fuck? Why?
We have a trailer for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, where Christopher Robin's a bad boy and he leaves them.
Okay, why'd you have to make this sound like a sex thing?
I don't know. Because he's a boy. When he comes back as an adult, just like Ewan McGregor, only now his friends are out for murder because he abandoned them.
Yep.
And it's literally, it's that we've talked about it when it was announced. It's Winnie the Pooh is in public domain, including like Piglet, Eeyore, which we didn't know were going to be in the movie until this trailer. I mean, they're just guys wearing cheesy masks, but and it looks like a bad student film, like even the quality of it.
It looks really bad. Like I'm actually really disappointed because I remember when hearing about it and seeing that initial image, I'm like, oh, they could do something really interesting. And I like in my head, I probably auto completed it to kind of feel and look like something on the level of like a James Wan movie. Nope, not even close. This is basically a student film, and it just looks real bad. Like not even worth watching bad. It's a movie that is gonna exist purely off of the hype that it is the first public domain spin-off, I guess, or production for the characters. Or
and it's a horror.
Yeah, and it's a horror. It's like we get to see Winnie the Pooh. Like they really lean into that, like based on the beloved childhood characters or whatever it is. And yeah, it just doesn't look good. Like I like the idea of it, I think works. Christopher Robin grows up, he leaves, and then eventually is like, hey, you know what? I want to come back and see how everyone's doing, and then having them feel betrayed and abandoned. It's very, the concept works. The execution is just, it feels lazy and silly and something that I would have watched in college and just made fun of.
That's like a recent Kevin Smith film.
Yeah, right. That's what it looks. It doesn't look like. It looks like it was made purely for that reason. Kind of like how you have those look-alike, those doppelganger movies. And that's not the wrong term. That's the wrong term. Like transmorphers, or those ones that are meant to look like real ones. Like this obviously isn't meant to look like something real, but it's like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, sure. It's an interesting concept. I'll go see. Yeah, it's the shock value of what it is, or at least the intrigue. And then you watch and you're like, oh, well, that wasn't even worth the hour and 10 minutes it probably is to check out.
I'm sure more people saw the announcement in the first pictures than actually watched the trailer.
Oh yeah,
Even let alone like the trailer than even watched it. But yeah, it's out there. That's the thing that's gonna happen. It looks like it could be funny because it is going into the horror tropes really hard. But
yeah,
this one's
but
definitely, if Weird Al's one I might not actually watch, this is one I definitely won't watch.
yeah. This is like, I'm trying to think of the tropes, but it doesn't feel like whoever's making the movie has a strong enough handle on filmmaking to make those tropes funny. It's just gonna look wrong, like it's done wrong or cheaply. So
It's definitely done
I'm
cheaply,
sorry.
but as I said, even the style looks like a bad student film. Not that there are a lot of good student films, but
I
it's like a
would just say
bad
student film.
No, it looks like it was shot by someone who only completed like freshman year of film school.
I don't know. I don't think I could have completed something that
Well,
extensive
neither could I,
after
but
freshman year.
it looks a lot worse than a lot of the terrible movies I had to sit through at like the end of the semester to see the one movie I wanted to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Pooh, Blood and Honey. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But good title. Title's better than, and the concept are better than anything else. Title's even better than the concept. But I guess we've had enough trailers this week. Maybe we'll see one of them. Maybe we won't see either.
I think I do want to see Weird. Weird does look like it's a lot of fun.
I want to see it too, but when the time comes, will I like really like be like, oh, I'm gonna stop watching this show. I'm stuck watching that or watch this movie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna prioritize it, but like in like, I don't know,
we should try
3
to
months
do
or something. When I'm wanting for a movie, I'll probably be like, hey, Weird's out. Yeah, fuck it, let's watch it. Let's throw it on. I'll rent it off of iTunes for too much money. And then
why not get the free trial for a
free 7-day trial?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
I have a bad history of just not canceling things and then having to pay a month fee. I haven't canceled my High Dive subscription in 6 months, and I don't even use it anymore.
Anime related?
Yes.
There are
like if I ever heard of it, it's Roku or anime related.
I don't have the site up on my mind right now, but there is a relatively trustworthy app that allows you to create basically prepaid debit credit cards, all legal. It's on Up and Up. It was actually advertised on a LTT video if I'm not mistaken. But basically, you put a dollar amount on there, so when you're using these trials, when they go to charge it again, it's done. You only put $1 on it for the free trial or whatever. I'll try to look that up for you guys.
I don't.
Some places have free trials.
Okay. Well, then I won't look it up.
Yeah, I don't like that, because for me, I'm like, that's just on me. That's on me, and I don't want to cheat a company.
So you don't want
to cheat a company out of their money because of my careless mistake. It's on me.
So you want them to take advantage. You don't want to take advantage of the system. You want them to take advantage of you versus you taking advantage of the system.
They're providing a service. They're providing a service, and I just am foolish and did not go and cancel it.
It's a tool, Jammer.
I don't like it.
It's a tool to help you. Oh my!
I don't like it.
And I'm the greedy capitalist pig who should be like, yeah, man, you don't have that tool. And instead, I'm using good form, saying consumer protection, man. I'm done.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, for me, it'll be easy. I'll probably cancel it after 2 hours because I'll start the movie, I'll watch it, and then I'll cancel it. So I hope we do it for the show. Otherwise, I probably will never get to it.
Is I'll be like, oh, what else is on here? Okay, I'll check that. I'll build up a queue, and I'll be like, I'll get to it later. And then 7 days will pass. I haven't gotten to it yet. Charged like, maybe I'll get to it next month. I'll get to it next month. Oh fuck, I forgot to cancel it.
Roku TV sounds like Crackle, which had like one good TV show on it in its entire run.
TV show?
It was called Burning Love. It was a parody of like The Bachelor, where like Michael Ian Black was like the host, and like it's like Ken Marino, like that whole like the state group of comedians, and even like Jennifer Aniston and like a lot of other like Rob Riggle and like all different. Ben Stiller is like the winner of the previous season. So
That
it was actually
reminds
made
me
by
of,
Red Hour Media.
back when
Now you
I
have to buy it on Amazon as seasons. They're like
back when
10-minute
I
episodes. They're like 5-minute episodes because it was Crackle.
back when I used to
Go.
do anime stuff, Crackle was like one of the platforms that we would upload to. Like we were like, okay, once we're done editing it and doing subtitles, you're gonna upload to Hulu, you're gonna upload to Crunchyroll, and then you're gonna upload to Crackle. I'm like, what the fuck, Crackle? Really? Crackle of all things? That's of all places. That's where we're putting it. I wonder if
Sony
they do that still.
later in Crackle's life, I'm sure it's still out there. Sony literally tried to turn it into their streaming network and like put up full length movies and stuff. But I think it costs
They
money
had the
now
Joe
if it
Dirt
even
sequel.
exists, which I now know is a thing for the first time.
Yeah, Joe Dirt. What the hell is it called?
I'm
Joe Dirt.
no, I
2.
can't. I
Beautiful
won't
Loser.
assume. I
Beautiful
was going to
Loser.
assume David Spade's not in it, but I won't assume because he
He's in
has
it.
no career. Is he in it? Okay, yeah.
How
That
dare
doesn't
you? He's
surprise
in
me at all.
commercials right now.
I know that's like and not like the so some celebrities you see like J.K. Simmons, you know, like they have their whole commercial thing, or John Hamm lately, and you're like, okay, they're famous, they're just doing commercials.
He was
Oh,
in
but then like
Love.
you see someone like David Spade, and you're like, oof, that's all you can do. Oh, he's in the Hotel Transylvania and Grown Ups franchise. Otherwise, he hasn't been funny since David Spade died. I mean, since Chris Farley died.
That's not true.
Well,
How
like
dare you?
whatever. What
Don't
Just
you? Didn't
Shoot
you
Me? Is
just
that the
say?
show he was on?
Didn't you? Yeah, he was on Just Shoot Me, and didn't you just say like? Oh no, I'm not sure. Was it you? It wasn't you. But what about Emperor's New Groove? He was funny in that.
Which one?
Emperor's New Groove.
That was
Oh yeah, he was funny
talking
in
about
that.
that on Daily Cog.
Yeah, I was like,
Channel.
I got confused for a second, and then I was like, wait, no, that was Manny and Kyle who talked about him in that. He was pretty funny in Love as well, where he played the actor girl's dad. Yes.
That the Paul Roost TV show?
Yes, you've talked about it
Yeah,
several
no,
times.
I couldn't. Well, yeah, I like that show. I don't remember him being in it, so
Yeah,
it's a funny show. So he's in it. I was just trying. There's so many shows that have love in the title. I was trying to make sure that was the one. Anyway, I'm tired of bashing David Spade. I apologize. Well, I'm not tired of it, but I'm gonna stop.
I took that oddly personally.
And he was good in Just Shoot Me. Yeah, he was on that one, and Andy Dick was on
Just Shoot Me was
News
great.
Radio. I used to always confuse those two.
Interesting.
Let's go from this wonderful discussion about Winnie the Pooh murdering people, which was a while ago, to the Roku channel and its existence, to Warner Brothers, who is Discovery, who's still quickly unraveling. Yeah. The latest news is not surprising at all to me that Legendary Entertainment, who's been one of probably their biggest producer, producing everything from the MonsterVerse to Nolan films to like just legendaries as their fingers in all sorts of pies. Like they were a co-producer. Yeah, I can't. There's a lot. If I had a list, I could go down it, but I already named some big franchises.
They're synonymous with like big budget movies.
Yeah, like or Bad Robot
with international appeal, because isn't it partially owned by a Chinese company, if I'm not mistaken?
But yeah, they are eyeing leaving Warner Brothers for a rival studio. Just like
no. To be clear, they're not eyeing that. They are
eyeing rival studio options with Warner deal over. Yeah.
Okay, because there's a potential for it. They might stick around, but their subscription is the wrong term. I guess their deal with Warner Brothers is up, and they're now courting other folks for potential. But does not mean it's a guarantee. They could end up sticking around with Warner Brothers.
And one of the things, of course, Dune is a good example of something they've done recently that's giant. They've been with Universal in the past where they still have I think they still have their logo on even the most recent Jurassic World movie. Because once you're part of a project,
and like you said, they're doing Dune 2. They're doing Dune 2 and one other project. So the ones that are already in the works and in production with Warner Brothers, they're going to follow through with that. Unlike that time when Warner Brothers didn't follow through with distributing their movies as originally planned without telling them anything, which really pissed off Legendary. And yeah, Kyle confirmed that Wanda Group is the parent company of Legendary, and they are Chinese.
Interesting. Wanda Group also owns AMC theaters.
Do they really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know that because they bought us when I was at AMC theaters.
How long ago was that?
5 to 7 years ago.
That's about the same time they bought up Legendary. So there you go. Maybe it was like a 1-2 punch there. They're like, we really want to get into this whole film industry thing.
So
yeah,
of course,
they're all over the place.
Everyone's been, if you've been listening to us or paying any attention to media, like, movie news, Warner Brothers Discovery is kind of collapsing upon itself by making bad decisions and having made bad decisions in the past that have led to stock drops. They're not all stuff
that
they've done recently.
That is a highly editorialized comment. I just want to make sure we understand that it's a highly editorialized comment, because one can argue that they are just making really specific business decisions with the hopes of stabilizing the company, decreasing their wasted external cash flow,
and learning their entertainment.
Only investing in things they know will make money, which could ultimately be good financially. And who knows, it could lead to better things down the line. It could lead to a more stable company. But as of right now, especially for people like us who like a variety of different content, it could also mean that they're going to no longer invest in a lot of the fun, weirder stuff that makes them so unique. So it's a double-edged sword. I personally don't like it, but I can understand why a businessman would do it. Anyways, continue.
Well, and in a story like this, it seems to be costing them talent that's like to work with Warner Brothers.
Yep.
Are going elsewhere. Like even Snyder, like he only does like his next he basically has a first look deal with Netflix right now, not Warner Brothers.
But that was years ago.
Rebel Moon. Yeah, but I think it happened as soon as the Whedon cut came out.
Yeah, but that was like 2017. Yeah. That was like 2018. That was
okay, fine. Well, I feel like
this had nothing to do with what's currently happening, though. Is my point.
No, but that's they're making even more what seem like worse decisions. Like you said, for financial reasons, or Zaslav guy,
David
or whatever.
Zaslav, the CEO of Discovery, the parent company that has since absorbed Warner Media. He is
let me posit this question to you, gentlemen, because Manny and I talked about this on Daily Cog with Legendary. Their contract expired without re-upping with Warner Brothers. However, we know that the recent shift from streaming focus to trying to get people back to purchasing media, whether it's digital or physical, and getting people back in theaters. There's only one other big studio that doesn't have their own streaming service that isn't trying to straddle that streaming and in-person bridge, and that's Sony.
Your favorite.
Exactly. So, but here's my kind of question to you guys. Does Legendary use, because obviously I think part of their reason for not, and this is just my take on it, part of the reason for not re-upping their contract initially was probably likely due to the former Warner Brothers group focus on streaming. Legendary wants movies in theaters because that's where you make more money. So now that Warner Brothers is making a shift to theaters, does Legendary kind of use their position as leverage? Because I'm guessing they're in line with that line of thought of get it in theaters. So Sony or Warner Brothers, could they leverage this, guys?
Yes, that's the thing, is that one thing you mentioned that's really important is that since the drama of last year, was that last year? Yeah, it was last year, with the whole streaming situation, things have changed. It's very clear they have a focus on theaters. Now lining up with Legendary, who makes most of their money from theaters. So now they might just be playing hard to get because they're like, oh, we now know that the current regime wants the same thing we want. They're easily the most successful of the others. So, I mean, I guess the only other reason they may want to do something else is that maybe better terms, maybe a higher cut from Sony, maybe a higher cut from Paramount or Universal. I forget which one it is that they're looking to potentially go. Paramount. Like they can get bigger options. Are they going to make more money with those higher cuts, or does it make more sense to take, a good deal, but not as good of a deal with Warner Brothers, but they bigger potential for box office.
Or use it to make
Success.
Warner Brothers pay more for it. Like rather than
Or
just
use it to
reopening a
make-
normal deal, it's like, oh, well, we're also flirting with Sony and Paramount, so maybe you want to offer us a bigger contract.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly
That kind of thing. But anyway, it's another just example of Warner Brothers Discovery's meltdown, apparent meltdown, which we'll get into more in a second in our next story. And personally, I would love to see them go to Paramount because Paramount seems like the main studio that doesn't have a lot of giant franchises. Like
Yeah.
it has Transformers way up here with Fast and the Furious.
They haven't made
And then
one
it
in
has
how
like
long?
they're
Since
making one right
Bumblebee?
now. So
Yeah, but they haven't released one in forever.
no. Yeah, and that's part of their problem. And then
They're
of
also
course
doing
Top Gun.
Turtles.
Yeah, and then Top Gun is not really a franchise, but it was I think it's the biggest domestic hit. It's easily the biggest domestic hit of the year so far.
I think it is. Yeah, I think you're right.
Because it's like 6th place. We discussed this last week. The beat Infinity War's domestic haul and is approaching Black Panthers, but it hasn't passed. In fact, this weekend's #1 box office battle is between a Spider-Man re-release and Top Gun. Those are the only two that are considered contenders this weekend, which is, don't forget, everyone, if you want to be in a theater full of other people, September 3rd, all tickets at all chains are $3 because it's National Cinema Day. It's all studios,
not
all chains,
but most.
Okay,
most.
because even Alamo
it's not
Draft
all.
House is doing it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not all, and there are some places that may be reserving their premium theaters for not $3, but most, like Regal, AMC, most of the big ones. Nick, you're right, but I don't want to say all and someone's theater isn't doing it.
Yeah.
they need to do research for themselves. That's not my fault.
Oh my god! And
Go
it
get
was like, you need to
tickets
do
on their
research for
website.
yourself, Nick, before you make a comment on a podcast.
Well, I mean, even if Alamo Draft House is doing it, that's a small chain. It's not even in most states. But yeah, it's and then tying back. And so my main point was, even though I am going to say that someone else pointed out, which is really cool, that Top Gun's the only movie ever made to be have a #1 weekend at the beginning of the summer in May and #1 weekend at the end of the summer in August. Because last week it was #1 movie in America.
That's great. So far, they made
$1.4
$1.4 billion worldwide with that movie. That's
I would have never thought that.
Never would have thought that. I
Bigger than Jurassic World too.
Nick,
I would have thought 700 to
that.
800 million.
Nick,
That's what I would have thought.
last weekend, Top Gun was not #1 in America. It made 4 million. The Invitation made 6.8.
Maybe it was worldwide then. I don't know. It was like Scott Wampler or one of the people who actually write the articles who did it.
The last week it was #1, or last weekend that it was #1 goes back to the weekend of June 3rd. That's its last #1.
That was a while ago.
Okay.
Weekend as far as weekend domestic, because then Jurassic World hit, Top Gun kept moving up in the top 3, but then Thor hit, Nope, Bullet Train, Dragon Ball, Super. So yeah, it's been a while. But it may have been
everything was a flop last weekend, so
yeah, it was bad. It was ugly.
But I have to take a quick break. Can you guys cover for me?
A24 has 295 employees. Legendary has like 100 and something employees.
Wow.
I never would have thought A24 had that many people working for them. I would have thought like 50 tops.
I would think they do. It seems like they do more movies than Legendary. And
yeah, but they're like tiny weird shit.
Maybe you need more hands to make everything tiny and weird. But my last point about Paramount is that one of the reasons I hope they go to Paramount is Top Gun notwithstanding and Transformers being up here. Some of their biggest franchises are like Star Trek and Mission Impossible, which don't reach the same heights as big franchises at even Sony. So
wait, you just want
devoid of like, yeah, I love Paramount. I'd love to. They make some of the best movies because they also Alibaba or whatever that they're like a Wanda group type.
Alibaba.
Yeah, they're like a Wanda type, giant conglomerate that just owns part of like Paramount or Skydance or something. Because like, you know, Mission Impossible or Star Trek, you'll see like Bad Robot, Skydance, Ali, whatever. So yeah, it would
Alibaba.
be nice if Legendary was working on some good franchises over there. I don't care.
Say the names right, Nick. You're gonna bring it up. Say the names right, or don't avoid saying them.
That one company that owns blah blah blah, Skydance and Bad Robot, which I can say. Anyway, we still got more to say about Discovery Warner Brothers or Warner Brothers Discovery. Whoa. Sorry, just started showing a trailer on my screen that was louder than my own voice for the news article for DC Fandom 2021, because there will be no DC Fandom 2022.
Fandome.
It has been Fandome, excuse me. It has been canceled by Warner Brothers. It started in 2020 during the pandemic, when there really wasn't, you know, there wasn't a San Diego Comic-Con, you know, like no Hall H to show everyone. So, you know, that was when they kind of rolled out and was like, here's our DC projects, similar to when Kevin Feige gets up at either an investors meeting or D23 and is like, hey, here's our Marvel projects coming up. But yeah, it's not happening this year. And which, you know, they also didn't show up at Comic-Con. Because we all assumed there would be a Fandome 2022. But
this is another instance of them axing unnecessary expenditures. Their statement's interesting. It says, with return to in-person events, Warner Brothers Discovery is excited to be able to engage with our fans live at numerous Comic-Cons around the world and will not be scheduling DC Fandome for 2022. I'm actually disappointed in this because I like digital events. I like Nintendo Directs. I like things that don't need to be revolved around specific
Disney
events.
Plus Day.
Yeah, those are great. Like I like those types of things. And I considering the fact that, as you said, they didn't even go to San Diego Comic-Con this year, to cancel this and then say, with the return of in-person events, we're excited to engage. It's like, no, you're excited to cut costs. Event. Yeah. You're excited to cut costs so you can keep going and make more money. Like, I think he's just trying to cut as much as possible as soon as possible, so that, you know, the fiscal quarter, whenever theirs is, once that ends, it's like, see, look at this, we're doing good, and then maybe they can start ramping those up. But it's very much seems like a very much a cost-cutting adventure now, venture. But like, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I'm obviously don't know anything about what Warner Brothers is doing, but that's certainly what it feels like. Outside of a vacuum where they're just axing everything left and right, cutting it down, saving dollars on fucking staples, you know, if they're in their offices, on these brands are doing shit like that. I don't know. It just seems disingenuous. So they better be at the next big event. Are they at New York Comic-Con? When's that coming?
That's October.
Well, they better be there if they're going to do in-person events.
Haven't seen anything really announced.
They did say something like numerous Comic-Cons around the world. So I'm wondering if they're like, hey, let's go hit up like fucking, you know, the
I don't know which other ones are coming next, but like just thinking of Denver, for example, they're not going to come to Denver and bring like Jason Momoa and like
it's like let's go to the Durango, Colorado convention that has like 1,500 people.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Affleck.
But I just wonder if they want to have like, hey, let's just go to these really small conventions that have less than 10,000 people around the world and just go there. I don't know what their approach is. Like that could be my only thing, is they want to do a bunch of small ones at other places, but I don't know. We'll see. You better have a presence over there in NYCC, Warner Brothers Discovery.
Do you think this will cost them in the long run as far as eyeballs on their projects?
Here is the thing.
Or only nerds watching Fandome?
Probably not much. Because at the end of the day, I think it's great for us and brand and stuff, but like maybe if you actually do the cost benefit analysis, you have the bean counters over there. They're like, hey, you know, we spend $5 million to set up an event, or $5 million to go to this one thing. It probably doesn't really add that much, because you could just drop a trailer and you're going to get just enough people, just as many people getting excited about it, because of the nature of your characters that have such wide appeal. maybe it's great for us and it's great for their brand overall, but at the same time, it's not going to determine whether or not someone sees their movie. So maybe it's financially not in their best interest to go. I don't know.
And they could do it cheaper than past years too, because they always make it seem like, like there's kind of like a CGI environment around someone like Zack Snyder talking. Whereas they could just do the Kevin Feige thing, where it's just a stage where he's standing up there and they're putting the name of movies on a simple screen behind him without having to, spend all this money on like, this is interactive Fandome. I saw a funny tweet where it was like, the reason they're doing it is the Fandome collapsed and killed everyone except for The Rock, who's holding it up. I guess in a year where, again, this is hyperbole, this isn't fact. In a year when you've canceled more projects. No, it isn't.
No, it's not. I know. I'm sorry.
You got me for a second. In a year when they've canceled more movies than they've announced, again, hyperbole in the Jammer's case. Maybe it's not a good idea to
hyperbole is in line really with Fandome hyperbole.
Yeah, nice.
So
and do you think any of it is them trying to lay low a little bit because of canceling a movie and Ezra Miller
maybe
still in the news?
I guess
Aquaman,
they still have enough where they could show, if I were them. And it's again, I don't know the financial inners. I don't know how much benefit you actually get from an event like this. But if I were them, I'd be like, okay, what do we have? Where we pushed a bunch of movies back, but we still have a lot of footage to show. We could show Shazam, we could show Aquaman, they have a lot of stuff to show off, even if they have been canceling a lot. They could talk more about Harley Quinn season 4, which has just been confirmed, which is great. They could talk about Peacemaker season 2, which I don't know where that is, but they can get James Gunn and say, hey, be yourself, be awesome in front of the camera for a bit. Tell us all about everything and do your shit. Like, there's lots of things. And then, of course, as Kyle points out in our chat here, they can go beyond even the movies. They can go to the animation shows,
and show off the
and games,
Gotham Knights game and stuff.
And
update us on Suicide Squad game.
There's plenty of stuff for them to do if they wanted to.
Okay. Excellent. We move on from Warner Brother Discovery DC decisions to another controversial director, even though Jammer and I agree with each other and disagree with the minority with the loud voice that believes Last Jedi is a bad film. That's not the story, but that's in the articles. He has a quote where he's like, I'm even more proud of it now than I was before.
I think you should give the whole quote.
But the full story is Rian Johnson, director of The Last Jedi, the wonderful Knives Out films, and the criminally overlooked, he also did Looper, but criminally overlooked Brothers Bloom, which even Jammer and Jonesy have not watched yet, which I keep bringing up every time we talk about the guy.
I'm not a huge fan of Rian Johnson. I wasn't until Star Wars, because Brick is okay. Looper, I wanted to like a lot more than I did. I never watched Brothers Bloom.
Telling you the reason why I watched Brothers Bloom. It feels like it's in the same galaxy as Knives Out.
Graced us with its presence, and I became just perma fan going forward. And then Knives Out fucking drove the knife even further into me for my love of his current movies. Anyways,
I keep telling you, and the audience, Brothers Bloom feels like it's in the exact same universe as Knives Out.
Okay.
But anyway, he was talking with Variety, this Rian Johnson fella who made this non-controversial picture called Star Wars: The Last Jedi, episode 8. Episode 8.
No,
I was, I went back to 8. One of those things is you hear all these Star Wars projects announced, and then you never hear anything about them again, or it takes years to hear something about the project. It's kind of like they've become kind of a DC over at Lucasfilm. I feel like we won't be getting all the TV shows they've announced as well, though I'm hoping we get some Donald Glover on the stage at Disney Plus Day to confirm that Lando is still happening, because there was news of Lando more recently in the time they unveiled the whole wall of shows, like I said.
I am sick of them naming series after character names. Lando, Andor. Fuck, just give it a cool name. Give it a cool name. Don't do Lando. I don't know anything about Cassian Andor. Name name it after the rebel group he's a part of or something. And for freaking Lando, name
Obi-Wan.
it something else.
Who's that?
Yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like
Scoundrels,
boring.
scum, and villainy.
Or like
I lots of things for Underworld.
Or like just like the fantabulous adventures of Lando, or the Lando logs, because he does open
Harley Quinn.
No, but like the Lando logs, I think would be interesting because he does it in the solo movie, and he does it in a Marvel comic that's canon about young Lando.
If Star Wars used anything with the word log in it, people would Star Trek.
Well, that's why I was confusing it. He says Chronicles. Yeah, they should call it the Lando Calrissian Chronicles, because he does a Captain Kirk's like captain's log. I think he does. Yeah, he does it once in Solo, and he does it in the official canon Marvel comic where he's like the Calrissian like Chronicles. He's like, today I was on a planet with some sexy alien. He like does this whole Lando thing. But I digress into other Star Wars. We're back to Rian Johnson giving an update about his Star Wars trilogy, which was announced 5 years ago.
Was it 5 years already?
It says here. Right. It was
right before. I think it was 2 months before the release of The Last Jedi. He had finished the movie 2 months earlier, or 2-3 months early. Had like no issues with filming. Everything went by buttery smooth. Everybody was like, "Oh no, it's done. It's ready to go." Like that was like the single smooth production that Lucasfilm has had in the Star Wars franchise.
But he was not happy-go-lucky about it. Have you seen the 2-hour long feature on the making of, like the feature-length feature? He is, at the end of that, he's like, I fucking hate my life. He's like, I love Star Wars, but I'm so ready to be done.
Every filmmaker's like that. Freaking Daniel Craig talking about wanting to slit his wrist and jump off of a building.
Rather than do another one. And then he's like, okay, one more for the road. So the quote is, from Rian Johnson, I've stayed close to Kathleen Kennedy, and we get together often and talk about it. Referring to his new Star Wars trilogy. It's just at this point of a matter of schedule and when it can happen. It would break my heart if I were finished, if I couldn't get back into the sandbox at some point. I'm assuming the next Knives Out film is well, what do you think? I think maybe the next Knives Out film is the last film he does before launching into Star Wars. What do you think, Jammer?
I unfortunately would be surprised if he actually makes a Star Wars movie or writes and directs another Star Wars movie. I might see him be involved in a writer capacity or a producer capacity. But man, I think, who knows? Maybe Lucasfilm will do it. I love The Last Jedi. I think it had great potential. I just, it showed that the franchise had great potential beyond what was established. And then, the last movie came in and squandered it. But he is not someone you want to announce for the franchise, unfortunately. And yeah, I don't know. But if he is going to do it, let's just say he is going to do it. Will it be right after Knives Out 2, which is called
I'm looking at the article. I want to say now. There are no other projects on his list.
Knives Out 3.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the only other movie on his lists. Knives Out 3.
Yeah, that would be the time after he's done with Knives Out 3 to go back and do it. I just don't know if Lucasfilm. I wonder if they're just kind of like, "Yo, what's up, Ryan? We love you. Let's just hope you slowly lose interest. Find another Knives Out franchise and just keep doing that. We'll just keep pushing back this trilogy
keep doing Knives
every
Out.
decade because we're sick of fans, sending us death threats and hating us." So yeah, I would be surprised if this actually happens, but if it does happen, I don't think he'll be writing and directing it. I think he will be producing it or writing it. Or basically at least having someone who is keeping him in check. Maybe pair him with Dave Filoni or something so that people can be like, okay.
No more Dave Filoni.
People fucking love Dave Filoni.
I know, but he has his fingers in too many pies. That's all I'm saying. And it's all starting to run together to one gross pie. But
my point is, but I think also here's another potential though. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they do. Maybe in 2 years we do get announcements like, "Hey, his first movie comes out here." Also, it takes place 1 billion years after the last thing in Star Wars. That way, he could do whatever he wants, and people aren't going to lose their shit because he's not going to be messing with beloved characters, instead creating his own sort of thing. I don't know how fans would feel about that.
2019.
I know that, but I don't know.
He's
I don't know how. My point is, I don't know how. I don't trust it until it happens because we've been told that before, and then everything always connects back. I'm like, legitimately stop connecting back. He will be the one, if any, for it not to connect back.
Even if you didn't switch time periods, you could switch.
I don't trust him.
Yeah.
I don't trust him.
Even if you didn't switch time periods, you could switch locations in a galaxy. Like
in a galaxy a little bit closer.
Heard of,
yeah, they only have one galaxy.
No, but like the opposite side of the galaxy, they've never heard of like Coruscant's like on the fringe. They've never heard of the Skywalkers on the other side.
The dead center.
Not Coruscant, Tatooine. The galaxy's
Tatooine's
huge.
Outer rim, but yeah.
What if it's called beyond
huge.
Tatooine?
Like worse
and then it's like
solar
outside
system.
of it. They could be
something set off of Tatooine. That would be amazing. But that just sounds so dangerous, Jammer. How could you possibly have a Star Wars thing that takes place that takes place off of Tatooine?
Oh. Well, it has to be a sand planet. It doesn't always have to be.
No. What if we have a Star Wars movie where literally they do everything they can? Like there cannot be a single solitary grain of sand in this entire film. Like, and I think if you go to, the Last
that's
Jedi,
the way Anakin would want it.
You can kind of look and be like, the salt moments. It's like, oh, it's kind of sand. No, none of that. It has to be zero sand.
That planet actually didn't remind me of a sand planet, but like obviously you have like Jakku and whatever the planet is in Rise of Skywalker. So
I just want to say I've been on the record many times saying Johnson doing 3 films set 1,000 years in the past, 1,000 years in the future, or completely separate from Skywalkers and, well, let's face it, with Disney in charge, Papa Palpatine. If he had done something like that, or if he does something like that, I'm 100% behind it. And also, he's not allowed to do anything with military without serious advice.
It's called Star Wars. You have to have military.
Well, then he needs to learn how to. He needs to learn how to freaking write it. He needs to learn how to freaking write it. No.
Star Wars has never been accurate.
You legitimately have Finn and Rose who get crashed right in front of a whole line of bad guys, and they got a long distance to move over to get back to safety, and they just walk. No, stupid.
What does that have to do with the military?
Okay then,
dude. Bad guys would shoot at them. Bad guys would shoot at them, and they don't. They're able to walk right past all of those enemies, all of the equipment, all of that stuff. They just walk right on by, back home. Stupid.
Yeah,
you're right. The military's never done anything stupid.
Oh, I didn't say that they didn't, but that is dumb freaking writing.
All right. We could talk about Star Wars all day, folks, until Kyle is red in the face and I'm exhausted, which I already am because it's early. I'm taking a nap after this. But I stayed up I didn't sleep well last night. My roommate decided to sleep on the couch. When he sleeps on the couch, I can hear his snores and his moans from my bedroom. Not like sexy moans, but he's just like, ugh, like every time he like even slightly moves on the couch, and it's as loud as like someone yelling. He's like, ugh. And it's like, God damn it, I just want to fucking sleep. But that was my night last night. So I'm actually feel pretty energetic for the show. So, but moving from a Disney story to another Disney story, which also includes stars, since Matt Shakman, Shakman, that would need an E in there to be Shakman. The Shakman can. We already knew he was going to take over Fantastic Four, in replacing John Watts, who I don't think we know what John Watts is moving on to.
I don't believe so.
He was, of course, he did the Spider-Man Home trilogy.
Watts is doing Skeleton Crew Star Wars.
That's
is that the animated one?
No, that's that's the one with guy from Captain Marvel. What's his name? Jude Law. It's that project.
Oh, okay.
And he's also doing an untitled George Clooney Brad Pitt project.
There you go.
He's moving on up.
But so Fantastic Four needed a director, and Matt Shakman, is moved on to that work. So now his next film was supposed to be Star Trek 4. But bringing back the Kelvin timeline after 4 was canceled right after Beyond came out. Because again, going back to what we said about Paramount, Star Trek Beyond, like the Star Trek movies make money, but they're not giant hits, and they don't make lots of money because they're also expensive.
I'm not even sure how much money they make, because it's like I think Beyond had a pretty bad box office return overall.
It made money, and it's not what killed the sequel fully.
Because I'm just saying is that it made money compared to its budget, but didn't make money when you take into account marketing and all that stuff. Like because it's not a direct science for us. Like we can't specifically know how much money is made because we don't have the specific receipts, don't know the different transactions, but it made $343.5 million. And let me double check to make sure that's worldwide and not just
domestic. I've got 335.6 for worldwide on a reported budget of 185 million, and that is from thenumbers.com.
So that's a profit, even when you
no
marketing.
No,
they spent $100 million on marketing.
Usually market for big budget projects almost equals almost. Let me finish. Almost equals the budget of a movie for a project of this size. Oh, so easily over 100 million. Yes.
To market?
It's like a rough rule of thumb to take the reported production budget and multiply by 2, because there's also a lot of weird things that go in with the how much money from opening weekend a studio versus theaters get, how much it all drops or grows from there. So that rough estimate, and it is rough, of just doubling the reported budget is enough to get you close to, hey, it was either close to even, made money, or didn't. There's a lot of nuance and finesse in there, but
we don't know for sure.
May have not made money. Have.
Exactly. Well, it may have not, or a very slim profit. Because if you do take that rule of thumb, 185 times 2, that's 370, which is more than its worldwide cum. But once again, it is a broad rule of thumb. We don't know for sure. Maybe it did make money, but it didn't make a lot. Likely.
It made enough for a sequel, because they were going to jump right into a sequel. And the reason the sequel originally died was because it was supposed to be the story. Some time travel thing happens, and Chris Hemsworth.
I think they had that idea. They had that before the box office came out. And then once the box office happened, they're just kind of like, eh. And then I think the
Chris asked for too much money was the official story.
Yep.
Because it was supposed to be Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth before you cut me off. So
I get that. My point is
that
it didn't make enough money, if at all, to justify an increase in salary. Because it makes sense, after 3 movies, the actors are going to want a bump in their pay, but declining profits to no profits probably made them be like, oh, well, this movie didn't make enough money, not worth it. Let's put the kibosh on it and move on with our lives.
But unfortunately, since then, Star Trek is bigger than it's ever been, with successful Paramount Plus show after successful Paramount Plus show. And they went almost a full year with an episode every week. Like they didn't have an episode for about 5 weeks between the end of Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks, which started last week. So now that's a hot property. I remember when I originally wrote the story for LRM about Star Trek 4 happening, is they kind of even focus grouped it without having a movie, being like, does anyone want to see more with this cast? And it was like a resounding yes. So this even had a release date for a while, December 2023. It was supposed to be their big Christmas movie, or one of them, which I thought at the time was silly, because release date's almost as far away as...
You don't know?
No, I meant how quickly they thought they would get one out, since they didn't even have a script when they announced that. But now, it does not have a director anymore. Not that I expected it to hit that date anyway, because
there's still time. They got 3 months
away, 14 months away. 2023.
Yeah, never mind. My bad. It's still possible. I know that. I think like Marvel at its most close, they have a movie enter production like 11 months out, and they still manage to hit it. But then again, they abuse
by freaking out the VFX
CG
artists.
People. Yeah, the VFX artists. So,
Jammer, any thought? You've at least watched the Kelvin movies, right? I know you're not really into the shows themselves.
No.
Do you have any ideas for a director who would fit well with the franchise? Because we've had two with JJ, and then the last one was with Justin Lin. I remember actually talking with you in person Wednesday night. You said you didn't like Beyond, which was the Justin Lin one.
Correct. I did not like Beyond. I thought it was boring. I didn't like the way the action was shot. It was like shaky cammy. Yeah, I didn't like it. But who would I want to direct Star Trek for? Who would be a good filmmaker? Oh, he caught me off guard with this good question. I'm trying to think here of directors who have David Leitch. That would be interesting.
What else did he do again? I know the name.
Did Bullet Train, Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde.
That's a good choice.
I think it's a good scaling up of his production skills. He could do a lot of great action, bringing in humor and stuff. Of course, he's not necessarily writing the script, but I think he probably could collaborate in establishing a tone and style.
I think there's already a writer signed. Maybe if you could double check that, Kyle. That was like Noah Holloway or someone.
Oh, Noah Hawley? Is that the script that's being produced? Because I thought he was directing his own thing, and then that has since disappeared.
I don't know. I know the Tarantino one was one of the things.
I'm looking it up. I'm not finding it.
I know that at one time there were three. There was the Tarantino one, the S.J. Clarkson one, and then the Noah Hawley one. And it's been 2.5, 3 years since that, and nothing has come of it. So I don't know. I assumed they all just got. But anyways, if I recall correctly, in 2019, the S.J. Clarkson one was canceled because the script wasn't good enough. I don't know the status of the Hawley one, nor do I know the status of the Tarantino one.
It's been put on hold. It says, and this came from Deadline. Hawley had said the film was very close to production when Watts put it on hold. And also from trekmovie.com, casting had been underway. Filming was set to take place in Australia. But yeah, technically, from what I can read, on hold. But then there's been additional developments since then.
So. Like an actual release date.
Most recently, it looks like the current draft, when Shakman was involved, was written by Josh Friedman and Cameron Squires, which was iterative of a draft by Lindsay Beer and Geneva Robertson.
So it doesn't seem like there's any reason why they would necessarily scrap the draft, depending which director they get.
It doesn't appear to be the case, but occasionally you do get a director who's just like,
or even throw it out. As a slight rewrite to fit their style. For me, the safe bet is Jonathan Frakes, who plays Riker, Next Gen, who I believe he's directed at least 4 episodes of every live action show on Paramount Plus, and I think he directed First Contact, which is one of the most popular.
Ronald Moore.
Okay, well, he definitely.
And that was going to be my suggestion. Was Ronald Moore?
Oh,
is he alive?
Look at that.
I don't know who that is. Besides, I don't know.
No, you know what? Stanley Kubrick.
But my other wackier one, though, since they were considering Tarantino, I think they consider this guy. Maybe have him and the guy who wrote 3 rewrite it slightly, because one of the co-writers on Beyond was Simon Pegg, who's a great friend and collaborator with Edgar Wright. So unless
he's been doing, actually suggest that too.
I don't know about Edgar Wright.
He might be too weird for
he's too
not
much of a
weird,
free
but
spirit.
like
he would want to make his own style. Like they would have to.
That's why I say he would probably rewrite it with Pegg. And then bring back Pegg as the writer from half the writing team from Beyond, and give us, just looking at this picture on LRM about the article, you just look at their costumes and like bright blue, bright gold, bright red. I mean, Star Trek is always so colorful that it could work. I don't see where you would insert lots of modern music like he likes.
I do need to issue a correction. You were right about Frakes directing First Contact. Ronald Moore wrote it with Brandon Braga. Sorry about that.
So yeah,
story by Moore as well.
He's the safe bet because he's still he's directed multiple episodes of all the live action ones.
Moore did a lot
Picard.
Yep.
Yes, and some of the better ones too. And he's done horror. He's done some of the horror ones. He's done some of the funnier ones. So I say that you're a safe bet, and just he's good at directing Star Trek. Why not let him do a feature, especially as the shows become more and more like features themselves. Anything else on Trek, y'all?
I'm ready to trek away from Trek. Nothing against Trek, but
We're gonna
times are
trek
burning.
with speaking of Shakman, we have some very exciting news about casting in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Trevor Slattery will be returning, played by Ben Kingsley in Wonder Man, which actually I missed the news where that movie was actually confirmed, or that TV show was confirmed. But he will be one of the leads in the show. Of course, we saw him in Iron Man 3. He was the actor who was playing the Mandarin. And then in the one shot All Hail the King, which had Justin Hammer in it, who I also hope to come back, since we also got Emil Blonsky back. And then in Shang-Chi, he came back, becoming one of the best parts of the film, especially in the boring third act. But he will be a kind of a co-lead, it says, because Wonder Man, aka Simon Williams, is an actor in the comics. And the show is said to be a satire of Hollywood. So I'm thinking something in the vein of She-Hulk, which I think Marvel needs to fast track some 30-minute comedies ASAP, because all the dramas are starting to run into each other as like one just big slog. Jammer, what are your thoughts on Trevor returning and how it could? Because I would even say Tim Roth reminds me, his new Emil Blonsky reminds me a lot of Trevor Slattery, where he's just like hanging out and he's like, I don't do that.
I think it
anymore.
probably has a lot to do with his accent too. His accent, I think, is the same.
Yeah.
I think they have the same type of accent. So that probably lends a lot to it, and sort of like hangy, like I could see that. But as far as, I think this is a great, unique idea to have it be, another series. I'm trying to think here of who I'd want to, and I know for a fact that whoever is involved in this, because I don't think they have anyone who is. Did they mention a showrunner or a?
I don't think they have yet.
Producer?
We don't even have an actor playing.
Because I'm trying to
Wonder
think here,
Man
who do I want to be involved? I know it's not going to be anyone I name, but I'm curious about, like, as far as like the style and feel for it. What are we getting out of this?
I will say this, great. Jammer, to answer your question, filmmaker Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi, teamed up with, and this is from THR, Hollywood Reporter, back in June when this show first came to light, teamed up with Andrew Guest, who worked as writer-producer on Community and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, to tackle Wonder Man. So Cretton and Guest.
And Marvel's had a lot of luck with community directors.
And Cretton's also doing one of the Avengers, the Kang movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Kang Dynasty.
Yep, Kang Dynasty.
He's gonna be a busy boy. But I would say I don't think you'd be able to get him to actually do it with his schedule, but James Gunn, and do it kind of Peacemaker style without the violence, because he actually already cast Wonder Man in deleted scenes from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. There was posters on the wall, kind of akin to all those weird movies made by Chris Evans in within Scott Pilgrim versus the World. There were posters on a movie theater wall, all of them with Nathan Fillion as Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man. So at least maybe he'd be a producer on that and get Nathan Fillion into the MCU if Marvel. I mean, because that's not even a deleted scene; it's just footage we never saw.
So I was listening.
They could do any casting, but
I was watching this great show, the John Campea Show on YouTube, and he mentioned that he's hearing rumors that Nathan Fillion would be playing that other character. Not confirmed, but that
Wonder Man.
Yeah,
title character.
Yeah, Wonder Man. That's possibly he could be playing the role. But I'm trying.
In which case, I say you get James Gunn even as a producer. He's done a lot with Nathan Fillion.
I don't think I want James Gunn. I think I want James Gunn doing other things. I'm trying to think here of what type of style I would personally want for this show, and I'm almost thinking of
will probably be in the end be someone we've never heard of, because a lot of these
yeah,
people.
I know, but I'm trying to think of the style that I'm going for. Like, what type of can I point to a movie and be like, hey, it's like this, except bringing in superhero shenanigans. And this is a really weird pull, but I'm gonna pull it anyway.
Christopher
Hail
Guest.
Caesar. Hail Caesar. Basically hopping around from set to set with these actors going about their thing, and then somehow incorporating superhero side stories, subplots into it, into sort of like a frenetic week within a movie or a series that Trevor Slattery and Wonder Man guy is working on together. That could be interesting.
You think it would be a prequel then, or has Trevor become a famous non-criminal?
This is no, not a prequel. Definitely after.
So he's just accepted back. Wouldn't he still be a criminal when they just lock him back up if he came back? He was in jail when he got broken out by the Mandarin.
But I mean, hey, maybe he pops up in She-Hulk and
She-Hulk clears him.
Yeah,
oh my god, that would be so great.
He's gonna be like,
the best cameo.
He's like, I really was. I was a victim. I was being held at my own will. They were just throwing pelting women at me along with mountains of cocaine, and I couldn't help it.
And then I helped save a village from dragons.
Exactly. I think they can work in him getting off in some way to the point where he's now going back into Hollywood.
Since I had this thought, this is another LA set show. She-Hulk is one of the first shows set in Los Angeles. I mean, Iron Man lives there, but it's very New York.
Because I love the fact that it's LA. It looks so LA, and I'm like, oh, I feel homesick.
So you could very easily even start that show with She-Hulk getting Trevor out, just like she does. Well, I won't spoil, but yeah, I think it'll all work. I don't really have a filmmaker in mind because it'll probably be someone we've never heard of.
You're right, it will be. That's why I was going more for a style and a feel for what I would want the show to be like. What's it? Hail Caesar's kind of a weird one.
I would even do mockumentary.
I'm not interested in that personally, but I can see why you would go there.
Behind the scenes person who's like shooting Wonder Man, like he's doing a movie with Trevor, and like it's like shot like a making of. And then it like turns into something bigger. Yeah. No, I mean, but like not just a mockumentary, but the reason they're being shot is because like, the people who shoot the interviews and the whole process of being made and then put out like a 5-minute special feature with all that footage in the case of most films.
So here is another option then. If you want to go the mockumentary route, pull Matt Reeves away from Warner Brothers. It's like you did Cloverfield, do that except Marvel. Go.
Ew, no. It's more found I didn't even see that. I couldn't finish that movie because it made me sick. All the terrible camera work. I know that was the intent, but I hate found footage movies.
I mean, you could shoot it like mockumentary as opposed to whatever, but at the end it transforms from mockumentary to like action mockumentary where stuff's happening. Yeah. I don't know.
Obviously, it will be superhero antics. I should have switched these stories order, but well, I guess they're both. We have two last movies we're going to talk about as far as casting are also either set in Hollywood / Beverly Hills or are mockumentaries about Hollywood. First, we'll quickly talk about Beverly Hills Cop 4, which is now typed 4. Which is now titled Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley, in the long tradition of just putting the character's name into the title of like the last or the revival or whatever you want to call it. Franchise that has been touched since the 90s, but it's one of those projects you talk about forever and you actually never expect to see it happen.
Like the Spawn movie,
which is how I missed that it already has a director, Mark Molloy, and a writer, Will Beal. So I missed it was actually already announced as happening for real. But this week, in order to make it feel real, they cast Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Taylor Page. So now that I think once you've attached Joseph Gordon-Levitt to it, and it's Netflix, they're bankrolling it. It's gonna happen now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Have you ever liked the franchise, Jammer?
I have to say it is not a franchise I've seen anything of. I know it exists. It was always one of those movies where it's like I would go to the Blockbuster and be like, should I get that one? Nah, I'm gonna get Rush Hour for the first, like third time instead.
You're showing me anime. I'll show you the first Beverly Hills Cop, which I feel is the only one worth watching, but it's on the same level as Rush Hour or Lethal Weapon.
Okay, that's
and
fair.
It's Eddie Murphy's funniest performance.
Lethal Weapon is also that for me. I haven't seen it. I remember this is how disconnected I was with the Lethal Weapon. I remember back when I saw trailers or TV spots back in the day for Lethal Weapon 4, and I remember thinking, I forgot how young we were at that point. Maybe we were 10.
90s, yeah.
Or younger. I remember it's like Lethal Weapon 4 coming to theaters, and I'm like, there hasn't been 3 Lethal Weapon movies. Movies never get that high. There's not ever that many sequels, and it still stays in theater. Never saw any of the Lethal Weapon movies. So never seen the Lethal Weapon movies. Never seen the Beverly Hills Cop movies. So I can't really say I have. Whenever I hear Beverly Hills Cop, I think of Beverly Hills Ninja with Chris Farley.
Very different films, even in type of comedy. Because the Beverly Hills Cop is more grounded in a Rush Hour way. Like, it's a comedy, but it's not like stupid. I don't know best way to say it. But from that, move on to another movie set in LA, presumably, which is a mockumentary. A few weeks ago,
wait, is it a mockumentary?
Cruise News. I mean, not necessarily a mockumentary, but satirizing Hollywood.
Okay.
Is something from Cruise News a few weeks ago. Christopher McQuarrie, who's written over 10, I think closer to 15 Tom Cruise movies and directed like the four Mission Impossible movies with him, including the 2 Dead Reckonings that haven't come out yet. Working on 3 projects with Tom Cruise, and one of them is a Les Grossman character. That character being the executive producer or studio head for the company that was making the movie within the movie Tropic Thunder. A movie where most people who saw it didn't get that it was Tom Cruise until later in the film, because it had kind of a fat suit on. He had like hairy hands and arms.
There's no way people didn't know it was Tom Cruise.
The first time I saw it, I didn't get it until the scene where he's like, I go negotiate with terrorists. And I'm a Tom Cruise fan.
You didn't know that was him? The first time I saw it, I was just like, oh, that's Tom Cruise. That's weird. I saw it after the marketing cycle. I saw it at a test screening. Oh, that's true. You did see it at a test screen. That's a good point.
But we've known about this project. He's been wanting to do it for a while. Christopher McQuarrie, I don't think he's done a lot of comedy, even though all the Mission Impossible films are funny. Edge of Tomorrow has its jokes.
He didn't do Edge of Tomorrow.
He wrote Edge of Tomorrow.
He wrote it?
It's one of the many ones he wrote.
Because I think Doug Liman directed that.
Yeah, Doug Liman definitely did. I just say he's written. He hasn't directed most of these movies. He's written most of Tom Cruise movies of late. It sounds like they are trying to get, or they are in talks with other actors from the original Tropic Thunder film. Ben Stiller, Matthew McConaughey, who played the agent I can't remember Ben Stiller's character name, but he's obviously his character was a parody of Tom Cruise, which is what made it funny that Tom Cruise was in Tropic Thunder as an agent.
I never saw him as a parody of Tom Cruise. I just saw him as a parody of like an action hero.
Specifically Tom Cruise, I think.
I didn't know
but
that.
You can compare it to a lot. And then, of course, Robert Downey Jr., who I would assume in this movie, since it's not about Tropic Thunder, would just be playing the Irish actor and would not have any blackface this time. Yeah, I think that would be fun. He could still be the main character, and it's about, almost like you said, like for the other one, like a Hail Caesar type grilling of Hollywood from his perspective of trying to keep these actors he's worked with before in line, and because he's a very aggressive character in the movie.
This isn't a 100% confirmed that it's going to happen. This is just something that's wrong.
No, it's something Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise are confirmed to be one of their 3 projects they're working on, and it's confirmed that the actors are in talks, but no one has signed up yet.
Okay.
So again, this could be a movie that never happens.
It could be, but I like the idea. I think it kind of like the
Kyle saying
thing. There's a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of potential.
Kyle saying the fandom wires hit right. has a good hit rate, but no one else is saying this
No,
is
I
a
said
deal.
I don't know their
Oh.
hit rate. I do not know Fandom Wire's hit rate. They're the ones saying that they have an exclusive, Nick, and what you sent me, an exclusive that talks are going on. The trades like THR, Variety, Deadline, and all them reported on the fact that this was a project on Mind back on August like 8th and 9th.
Yeah.
But no one else has reported on Fandom Wire's story. So take that for what you will.
I would hope that if they're going to get this movie across the finish line, that they would at least get Ben Stiller in it, because Tom Cruise actually went. The story is Tom Cruise actually went to Ben Stiller asking to help him revitalize his career after Mission Impossible 3, because that movie and his weirdness around the time of that movie kind of Paramount at that point was even like, we're done with Mission Impossible. Like, he's too weird. 3 didn't make enough money. Because he worked with Ben Stiller on an amazing project, which you can find on YouTube. It was even a special feature on the DVD where they did a sketch for the MTV Movie Awards where he played Tom Cruise with a Z, who was Tom Cruise's stunt double for Mission Impossible 2. And it's really hilarious. Like, he has the same hair and he has the same laugh, and like, he's talking with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise obviously doesn't like him that much. So yeah, check that out online, and that's kind of how their relationship forms. You would hope they would at least get Ben Stiller back. Anyway, since we're running pretty long, do you want to talk about Only Murders in the Building for a little bit, Jammer?
We can
season
talk,
2?
Yeah, for a little bit.
This will be a long discussion. What did you think of the season as far as a sophomore season of a show that is announced for season 3?
So no spoilers right now. I liked it even more than season 1. And the reason I liked it more than season 1 is, for season 1, I thought it was good, but it had a lot of moments where I was like, fucking Selena Gomez, Mabel, say shit. Because everyone was like always hiding something. And it just felt like you're making it worse. You're making it worse.
When they really didn't seem to hide much of anything.
Right.
The 3 of them, because now they have the repertoire.
Yeah, they had the repertoire. They knew each other. So there really weren't a lot of secrets between them. You didn't get the impression where it's just like, oh, well, stop trying to make me feel like she could have done it when I know she didn't do it. Stop trying to make that into a subplot. Instead, we know it's like, clearly they didn't do it.
Yeah.
We trust her. They get to play a little bit on their tropes from last season specifically. I'm not going to be specific on that one because
then there are jokes about like, nothing's as good, because they're making a sequel to their podcast. So in the season 2 of the show, there are jokes about how it's never as good as the original. Like, how do you guys expect to have another good podcast?
I really
like that kind of commentary.
Their podcast fandom as well, like those handful of podcast fans who are just like sitting there trying to solve the mystery along them. Every single time they're involved, it's amazing, and I just love it. And I think ultimately they had a good number of last episode twists. Like, it just felt right. It wasn't particularly like, oh my God, I can't believe this, like on that level, because I was salted by then, but it was just perfectly entertaining, very well done. I really love seeing Martin Short and Steve Martin continue to kill it. And I think it's funny, for me, Martin Short, because ironically, I know Martin Short from a lot of things from growing up, but for some reason, the one that sticks to me is his role in the Merlin TV series, the mini series starring Sam Neill as Merlin. It's like 3 or 4 episodes or something.
I remember. And it was like a mini series on network TV. I don't even think it was cable.
Yes, and probably was bad, but I don't know. But I remember him a lot on that one. And then it's been a long time since I'd seen him. And then I recently saw him in Morning Show, where he played a sexual predator, and he was creepy in that. Like, the way he spoke was just so creepy, and I was like, please don't let this be my last memory of Martin Short. And then right after that, Only Murders came out, and I was like, okay, good. Like, I want to be able to think of him as this sort of happier guy. But speaking of Martin Short, I really like what they did with his subplot overall with him and his son as well. Very heartwarming, and the way they also wrapped things up, quote unquote, between him and the villain of last season, just sort of the evolving relationship where they managed to keep even people you feel like, why are you still in the show? Your part is over. They make them relevant again in a way that somehow works.
I would agree. I don't have a lot to add because you explained that really, really well. Would you have a letter grade for the season?
Yeah, I'd say I'd give it a B plus. B plus. Yeah, because I think my big criticism, and I guess this comes with the territory, but there was almost too many plot developments to the point where it kind of feels like it's folding in on itself a bit more, like a bit too much, to where I at the end of either the second to last episode or the last episode, where they're showing recaps from like episode 1 and 2, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that happened. Oh yeah, I forgot that happened, and I'm like,
the curse of the week to week.
It's just gone like
streaming.
It's zigged and zagged. It's gone back around in a circle to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I don't even care because it's too many twists and turns back that I don't want to trace my steps back to it. But is that just me being a lazy viewer? Maybe, but it also might just be it has gone so many different ways that it doesn't quite feel cohesive and it doesn't quite feel like it matches up as effectively as it could. So that would be my big criticism. I think that was also the same last season, but it's still a very entertaining and fun show. And, I could effectively say HBO. Wait, no, it's not HBO. Damn it. Never mind.
Hulu.
But between Selena and Chef and this show, I'm like, okay, I'm a Selena Gomez fan now. I had not seen her in really anything until Selena and Chef during the pandemic. And I just liked her personality in that. I thought it was fun. And then this one, I'm like, oh, she could actually act. Good for her. And now I just really like her. No, Selena
Jon Favreau
and Chef.
Phil.
No,
there's a show called Selena. I've never heard of it.
It's a cooking show. It's basically during the pandemic, she sets up her house to cook. It's fucking awesome.
There's one with Gordon Ramsay, and I thought it was part of Gordon Ramsay's show because that popped up on YouTube for me the other day.
No, this is just Selena and Chef. It's literally just a lighthearted, fun cooking show where she is terrible at cooking and then has people try to teach her over Zoom how to cook. And it's usually she's awful at cutting. It's painful to watch her cut vegetables. And there's this one point in the recent season where it's like she's trying to push down on something because it won't cut. She puts her fingers under the knife and puts her whole body into it. And I'm like, it didn't slice, thank God, but it gave me so much anxiety. I'm like, you could have cut off like 4 of your fingers in that moment if it had gone through. Yeah, but she's really bad at cooking. It's fun. Highly recommended. Selena and Chef.
HBO I say Max. A minus. It's one of my favorite shows on television. One of the funniest, and Steve Martin and Martin Short are one of my funniest duos.
A game. Bring in their A game for the show.
And let's do spoilers real quick because I'm gonna have to leave for the same reason I left before, which we cut out. A little bit of an upset stomach this morning.
I personally don't have any spoilers that I feel like I need to share. It's not that kind of show, almost.
I would say slight spoilers.
Okay.
I love the reveal at the end with like almost the triple reveal, where it was like, it's this person, no, it's this person, and then no, it's you. Like,
yeah, it was really good. And I also like how they brought in Cara Delevingne's character, where they were playing off the idea because last season it was the girlfriend, and this season I'm like, it's not going to be the girlfriend again. But then she was just like kind of admitted to being her, and I was like, she's chewing the scenery too much. This character is putting on an act, and it ultimately was. And I was just like, okay, well played. I didn't expect that Tina Fey's character was in on it. I thought that was a nice little twist, and that they were working together with her to reveal the actual murderer. Really good stuff. That twist I did like.
And I did think legitimately it was Tina Fey. Even before those characters came to it, I was like,
at the end of the last episode, Kirsten and I thought it was her assistant. We just didn't know how, and they revealed it. And I was like, okay, cool, that matches up. But I didn't know that Tina Fey would be in on it with them.
Yeah,
and it was probably one of the funniest moments in the show. Also, was literally all of Tina Fey's characters' fears. Like, she fears
the inside of tomatoes.
The inside of tomatoes, and they have everyone talking in slow motion. And then bringing out a tomato and a cutting board and just like cutting it in front of her. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Really funny stuff.
Yeah, totally recommend it.
Oh, and Paul Rudd coming for next season. It's going to be about his murder. Spoiler.
And that's the thing. They announced him as a cast member for season 2, but he's already the corpse in season 3. But he's already the they always do a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah, kind of like how Buddy was already the main person this season, but she was all over this season.
And we met. There's lots of Tim Kono flashbacks too in the first season. So yeah, Paul Rudd will get to play with these other fantastic comedians who I'm sure he also looks up to. Mm-hmm. Anything else to say about anything else?
No, but if you haven't seen the show, like highly recommend it on Hulu. Go check it out. It's a cozy mystery. If you're into cozy mysteries,
feel good show.
This will not disappoint.
And especially if you're a fan of like Michael Lane and it has all kinds of great older actors in addition to younger comedians.
Who's Michael Lane?
I mean Nathan Lane. Did I say Michael Lane?
Nathan said Michael Lane. I was like,
I'm surprised, Matt. That's because he usually works with Matthew Broderick, is why I said that way. I'll be surprised if we never get Matthew Broderick on the show because he's in the kind of the same crowd as Nathan Lane and Steve Martin. Right. He's younger and like Steve Martin and Martin Short. I guess we'll close her out then. Thank you for listening to Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast. We have now officially left SoundCloud completely, I believe, Kyle. You can shake your head yes or no if that's true, and are using Sounder as our distributor. So you can still find us on all the same places you were listening before. We're hoping to add even more locations because Sounder is a nifty little website. And you can even go there to listen to us. But like, Apple Music, Stitcher, Spotify. You can go watch us on YouTube, of course, and you can get all that directly from lrmonline.com, or you can subscribe to us on any of those services, or just subscribe to the Genreverse Podcast Network on YouTube. Lots of great shows over there. Oh, well, I forgot something I was going to say earlier. Lots of great shows over there. Got Anime-versal reviews.
Daily Cup of Genre, Marvel Multiverse Mayhem, Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast, and the Cantina.
Well, I was just trying to remember Genre Shot. That's what I was going to do Genre Shot next. I'm like, I got it right last week. I need to. Otherwise, I've always been calling it the Kyle Reactions Show. And of course, A2X, is that the name of the second anime show?
AVR Squared.
AVR Squared. There are other anime shows.
What is AVR Squared? How's that different from Anime-versal?
It's Anime-versal Reviews' reactions.
Oh, okay.
The R is squared. Yeah.
And then, of course, you can always talk with all of us on Discord. We're pretty active. You can ask us questions about the show, recommend stuff you want to see on any of our shows. Like if Kyle and I are between Marvel shows on MMM, you can go on there and be like, hey, why don't you watch this Marvel movie?
Well, really quick, Kyle, here's a question for you. How does one get to the Discord?
There is a link in the description box below every podcast and every YouTube video. That's the easiest and fastest way.
There you go.
Come on, join us and talk. Other than Discord, where can thou be found, Jamith?
You can find me on Twitter at JamTheWriter. Most of my books under the name of AJ Cerna on Amazon and Audible. And you can find my latest book in hardcover, paperback, ebook, and audiobook at magiabooks.com. That's MAGIA books.com.
And if you want to hear more about that book, he was on Daily Cup of Genre yesterday with Manny and Kyle discussing City of Mages. And I am at Geeky Nick Doll on both Instagram and Twitter. And of course, our wonderful producer is on Twitter as at that Kyle Malone. So thanks for listening to us, everybody. And hasta lasagna.
Try not to get any on you.